Scorpio, something is ending this weekend, something you've carried for too long, something that has followed you for years, maybe decades, like a shadow you could never leave behind. And no matter how much you tried to bury it, ignore it, or pretend you were over it, that cycle was still open, it was still bleeding, it was still trapping you in old versions of who you were, preventing you from becoming who you truly are. But now the time has come for real closure. Not that superficial closure you've tried 1,000 times. Not that false peace you declared only to discover, months later, that the wound was still open. This is different. This is the true end. The kind of ending you feel in your gut. The kind of ending that changes everything. And you know it's real because something inside you has already begun to say goodbye, even if you're not yet aware of it. The next few days aren't just another weekend. They're the exit portal from the personal hell you've inhabited for so long. They're your last chance to release what's holding you captive. And if you don't pay attention, if you let it pass, this cycle will drag on even longer. And Scorpio, you know very well that you can't bear another day carrying this weight. You're exhausted. Your soul is begging for rest. And rest only comes when you finally let go of what is no longer yours to carry. It's time to let die what died a long time ago, but which you insist on reviving because you're afraid of the emptiness that will remain in its place. And I understand the fear. Scorpio clings to what it knows, even when what it knows is pain, because at least it's a familiar pain. At least you know how to deal with it. The unknown, the new, the void, that scares much more than continuing to bleed from the same old wound. But here's the truth you need to hear now. The void is not the end. The void is the beginning. It's the space needed for something new to be born, and you can't plant the future in soil that's still occupied by the past. This cycle that's closing could be many things. It could be a relationship you should have ended years ago, but which remains zombie-like. Neither alive nor dead, just consuming your energy. It could be an old grudge, a betrayal you never forgave, a loss you never truly processed. It could be a version of yourself that you've overcome, but still insist on keeping alive out of sheer stubbornness. It could be a pattern of behavior that destroys you, but that you repeat as if it were programming. It could be a fear so deep that it has become part of your identity. Whatever it is, Scorpio, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You felt a pang just now. You saw the image in your mind. You know. And do you know why this closure is happening now, specifically this weekend? Because you're finally ready, not in the way you imagined being ready, not with clarity, peace, or certainty. You're ready the way Scorpio gets ready, too exhausted to keep fighting, too tired to keep resisting, too fed up to keep pretending. You've hit rock bottom and discovered there's nowhere else to go down, and it's there, only there, that real transformation happens. It's when you stop fighting the end and let it take you. This weekend will be a turning point in your life. Something will happen. It could be a conversation you have or someone else has with you. It could be a revelation that comes out of nowhere like a bolt from the blue. It could be an unexpected encounter. It could be some news. It could simply be a moment of absolute clarity where everything finally makes sense and you see clearly what needs to be done. But something will happen. And when it does, you'll know that's it. You'll know it's the end point you've been waiting for. Now pay attention, because this is crucial. When that moment arrives, don't run away. Scorpio is a master at running from their own emotions, you know. You delve deep into other people's emotions, but when it's your own, you lock it up, freeze it, hide it. You transform pain into anger, vulnerability into control, fear into attack. But this time, you can't do that. This time, you need to sit with the pain. You need to look at it. You need to let it completely pass through you, because it's only on the other side of pain that true freedom exists. And another important thing, this ending won't be smooth. It won't be gentle. It won't be like a movie ending where everything is resolved with beautiful music playing in the background and everyone is at peace. It will be raw. It will be brutal. It will tear away pieces of you that you thought you needed to survive. It will expose wounds you covered with layers and layers of defenses. It will make you feel things you swore you would never feel again. And that's okay, because Scorpio doesn't thrive in comfort. Scorpio thrives in fire, and you are about to burn everything that is no longer useful to be reborn from what remains. Do you know what's most terrifying about all this? After this cycle closes, you won't be the same person anymore. And I'm not talking about superficial changes. I'm talking about literal death and rebirth. The person you've been until now will die. The defense mechanisms you've used to survive until now will stop working. The stories you've told yourself will crumble. And in their place, someone you don't even know yet will be born. Someone lighter, someone freer, someone who can finally breathe without carrying tons of the past on their shoulders. But to get there, you need to go through death first, and death, even if symbolic, always terrifies. Let me tell you a secret about cycles. They only close when you stop trying to control them. As long as you keep trying to control how it will end, when it will end, how it will happen, the cycle remains open, because you're trapped in the illusion that you can orchestrate your own transformation. But real transformation can't be controlled. It grabs you, shakes you, turns you inside out, and spits you out transformed. You just need to surrender to the process. And Scorpio, you're terrible at surrendering. You'd rather die fighting than live giving in. But this time, surrender isn't weakness. It's the only possible path. This weekend will give you clear signs. Pay attention. Pay attention to the conversations you'll have. Pay attention to the dreams you'll have. Pay attention to the emotions that will arise out of nowhere. Pay attention to the memories that will resurface. Pay attention to what you'll feel like doing, even if it doesn't make logical sense. All of this is messages from your internal system telling you, it's now, it's time. Stop postponing. Stop resisting. Stop pretending you can hold this off any longer. And there's something you need to understand. Closing a cycle doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean forgiving the person who hurt you if you're not ready to forgive. It doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't exist. Closing a cycle simply means this: stopping living trapped in it, stopping letting it define who you are today, stopping revisiting the same wound, hoping that this time it will hurt less. You can keep the lessons, you can keep the scars, but you don't need to keep the active pain anymore. You don't need to let it paralyze you anymore. Now comes the hard part. What will you do when this cycle truly closes? Who will you be when you no longer have that pain to cling to? Because look, Scorpio, you've built so much around this wound. You used it as an excuse not to take risks, as a justification not to trust, as a shield not to open up. When it disappears, when you can no longer use it as a crutch, you'll have to take responsibility for your life in a completely new way. And that's liberating, but also terrifying. Because then there's no one left to blame. There's no more trauma to justify. There's only you and the choices you'll make from now on. And look how interesting. You might be thinking, but I don't know what to do to close this cycle. And here's the great truth. You don't need to do anything. The cycle is already closing. The process has already begun. You just need to allow it. You just need to stop clinging to something that's already slipping away. It's like trying to hold on to water running through your fingers. The more you squeeze, the more escapes. The only way to truly hold on to water is to let it land in the open palm of your hand. And that's what this weekend is asking of you. Open your hands. Let go. Let it go. Do you know that strange feeling you've been having? That mixture of relief and panic at the same time? It's because part of you already knows it's over. You already feel the weight starting to lift. But the other part is terrified because that weight, however destructive it may be, is familiar. You know it. You know how to live with it. And now you're going to have to learn to live without it. You're going to have to learn to walk without carrying that heavy backpack. And at first, you'll even miss it. You'll feel too light, too exposed, too vulnerable. But that passes. And what comes next is better than anything you imagined. This cycle that's closing has taught you things. It has strengthened you in ways you don't even realize yet. It has given you a depth that few people possess. It has made you understand human pain in a way that makes you incredibly compassionate, even if you hide it behind a tough mask. But now, the lessons have been learned. The mission is accomplished. You no longer need that teacher. You no longer need that class. It's time to move on to the next level. And the next level isn't about surviving pain. It's about learning to live in joy, in lightness, in peace. And yes, that's scary too, because you don't have practice in that. But you will learn. Let me tell you something that's going to happen. When this cycle closes, other people will notice. They'll feel the change in you even before you fully understand what has changed. They'll look at you differently. They'll treat you differently, because you'll emanate a completely new energy. You won't have that wounded person trying to heal vibe anymore. It will be a healed person learning to live vibe. And that attracts new things, new opportunities, new people, new situations. It's as if the universe waited for you to close this cycle so it could give you everything it was saving for you. But it can only give when you make space to receive. And here's an uncomfortable truth. Some people aren't going to like this new version of you. People who got used to you being hurt, dependent, predictable. People who felt superior because you were broken. People who used your pain to feel better about their own lives. When you heal, when you break free, these people will try to pull you back down. They'll invalidate your transformation. They'll throw your past in your face. They'll try to make you feel guilty for being okay, and you'll need strength not to fall into that trap. Not to revert to the smaller version of yourself just to make others feel comfortable. This weekend is a gateway. On the other side of that gateway lies a life you can't even imagine yet. There's a peace you stopped believing existed. There's a lightness you convinced yourself wasn't for you. There's love, real, deep, healthy love that you gave up searching for because you thought you didn't deserve it. But you do deserve it. You always have. You were just too busy carrying what wasn't yours to realize it. And you know what the craziest part is? You'll look back in a few months and you won't believe you lived that way for so long. You'll wonder why it took you so long to let go. You'll wonder how much time you wasted punishing yourself for things that weren't even your fault. You'll wonder why you were so hard on yourself when all you needed was compassion. And that's okay. Because you were doing the best you could with the resources you had. But now you have new resources. Now you know more. Now you can choose differently. When the weekend finally ends and you realize that something has truly changed, that the weight is gone, that the pain no longer holds the same power over you, that you can breathe deeply for the first time in years, don't downplay it. Don't rationalize it. Don't say, "Oh, it wasn't a big deal." It was. It was a miracle. It was you finally giving yourself permission to be free. And that deserves to be celebrated, even silently, even if only in your heart. And you might cry. You might cry a lot, not from sadness, but from relief, as if your whole body were releasing years of accumulated tension, as if every cell in your body could finally relax after being on high alert for so long. Let yourself cry. Let your body process. Let the emotion out. Because every time you blocked emotion in the past, you blocked healing too. But now you don't need to block it anymore. Now you can feel everything and let it all pass through you. There's one last thing I need to tell you, Scorpio, and it's important. You're going to be okay. I know you don't believe it right now. I know you're scared. I know you think that if you break free from that cycle, you'll lose your identity, you'll lose your purpose, you'll lose what keeps you standing. But you won't lose anything essential. You'll only lose what was preventing you from being whole. And for the first time in your life, you'll discover who you really are when you're not in survival mode, when you're not at war, when you're not carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You'll discover a lightness within you that you didn't even remember existed. You'll discover you can laugh without guilt, that you can trust without panic, that you can love without losing yourself. that you can live without constantly expecting the next catastrophe. And this will feel strange at first. It will even seem wrong, because you've become so accustomed to chaos that peace seems artificial. But it isn't. Peace is your natural state. You just forgot that because you spent so much time at war. So here's what you need to do this weekend. Be present. Don't run away. Don't get distracted. Don't bury what's trying to come out. When the emotion comes, receive it. When the memory arises, let it pass. When clarity arrives, trust it. When you feel the urge to let go, let go. And when you finally feel that inner click, that moment where everything falls into place and you know with absolute certainty that the cycle has closed, take a deep breath, give thanks, and take the first step towards the new that awaits you. Your old life ends this weekend. And yes, that's a little scary, but it's also liberating. It's also necessary. It's also sacred. You are dying to be reborn, and there is no real transformation without this symbolic death. So let die what needs to die. Let go of what needs to go. Let close what needs to close. Because on the other side of that, there's a version of you that you don't even know yet. A free version, a light version, a version that can finally live instead of just surviving. And when that moment arrives, when you feel that profound relief flooding your chest, when you realize you can think about what destroyed you without feeling the old pain anymore, you will understand. You will understand that it was worth the wait, that it was worth enduring, that all the suffering that brought you here was worth it, because now, finally, you are ready for what comes next. And what comes next is better than anything that's left behind. So tell me, Scorpio, are you ready to finally close this chapter and start writing a completely new story? A story where you are no longer defined by what hurt you, but by who you chose to become despite everything.